Yo, yo.
Hello.
What up? What up, Wes? How you doing, man?
Good. Sorry, I kind of lost my voice, but
Oh,
I'm
no
here.
worries. If you need me to do all the talking and you want to not talk very much, that's also fine. I can talk a
No, I'm
lot.
I'm down to talk. I just might sound funny.
Oh, you sound fine, dude. It matches your picture. uh, but I guess you might have mentioned it, but give me a refresher if you wouldn't mind, as to league and race and kind of what your plan is here.
Yeah, so I've been playing Zerg. I'm like 2400 Gold League or so.
Okay.
In the past I played Terran, but it's just too hard. I'd
Yeah.
rather like a move.
You're
Mac
saying Zerg's A move?
No, but Terran I just feel like you have to mac micro unless you're going mech. But
That's
I
yeah, that's true.
but but I still pretty much suck. And yeah, I mean, I played StarCraft 1 back in the day. I've always liked StarCraft, but I've just always kind of been pretty bad at it.
Oh, you're all good, man. So you're just overall looking to like get better at it. Are you doing B2GM stuff?
Yeah, I've been watching your YouTube 2021. Well, I've watched a couple different ones, but I'm currently watching the 2021 Zerg B2GM.
Okay.
So I'm basically trying to do that, and yeah, I mean my goal is just to get like, I mean, one day to like Diamond League or something like that.
Okay.
That would be cool. I mean,
Perfect.
or more. I don't know, but like out of Gold League at least.
Yeah, I think Diamond League is for your I like you can have multiple goals, right? You can always have like a goal and then it can turn into a new goal later on. That's always very realistic. But I think having Diamond League as your goal right now, if you're in Gold League, is a very attainable goal that isn't going to take like it's not like, oh, I want to be playing in the GSL or some shit and you're like, fuck, okay, this is a little insane, like this is gonna take some
I just
time
want to
here.
beat Mario once. That's all I ask.
Yeah, I want to be able to beat Maru. All right, bro, we got some work to do. But yeah, so really, I would say the B2GM version of what is going on there, especially for like someone in gold or plat, is going to be a great way, probably the most realistic way to attain diamond. With like it's like the least path of resistance. And you can like when you actually get there, you'll have a lot more tools at your disposal to like actually learn the game more appropriately in other ways. So I think staying on the B2GM path is great. Uh, and I would say, do you have a like a replay prepared, or do you want to kind of you? I could also like freestyle this for you and like kind of just give you a live
I
one.
have some replay. I have some replays
Okay,
um that I played like today or yesterday or recently. If
nice.
we want to look at that.
So it's super easy. All you do is just open up your replay folder, and then, or you can like search it up by name if you saved it by a name, and then just drag and drop it into the Discord chat, and then I can open it up through Discord straight up.
Oh,
So
how do I drag and drop?
did you name the replays anything first of all?
Yeah, some of them I have.
Okay, are you on Windows?
Yeah.
Okay, just hit like Control Escape. It'll open up your little like search bar, and then type in the name of like start typing the name in of whatever it is, and then it should start showing up like what the file name is, like it'll be like a green file where it's like a StarCraft 2 replay. So do
Okay. Yeah.
you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so right click it, right click the
Oops.
whatever file you want to look at, and
Hold on one
it
second.
sure
Give me a
take
second. I fucked up.
no worries.
I clicked on the replay already. Let me quit it.
Oh, it like opened up StarCraft for you and shit.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, no, you're totally fine, dude. It's all good. Because
Control.
that's exactly what I'm gonna do.
All
Hit
right.
Control Escape again when you're ready, and then type it in again.
Okay. I see it there.
And then you can just right click it, and then if you right click it, a list of options will happen out, like will drop down, and just hit the one that
Uh,
says Open File Location.
okay.
And then
Oh,
now it'll
sick.
it'll open up your replay folder. And now
All right.
all you do is the replay with the name that you like. Just hold down left click on it and drag it into like the chat like you're gonna send me a message, but it's gonna be the replay.
Okay. Let me. Okay. It's all right. Give me 2 seconds.
You're all good.
I don't know. There's a lot of ZVZs.
Yeah. There you go. Okay, perfect. I was gonna say anyone will really be okay as long as it's like recent and you think it represents like how you play. And for now, you can do more if you want. I'll start with if you have a preference, if there's one that actually you recognize that you want to do, I could do that one first. Otherwise, I could just pick the top one.
Let me see one thing. Actually, I think this one I'm sending you right now. Maybe we could look at that one first. Cosmic Sapphire.
Yeah, sure. Let's do it. Okay. And then what I'm gonna do now is on Discord. You should see if you look at my screen now on Discord, up in the top part of Discord in our little private chat here, you can probably, can you see my StarCraft window now? Open up.
Should I hit watch stream?
Yeah, exactly. And then let me know if you can see it. And if not, I can help you get there as well.
Hey, can you hear me now?
I can hear you right now, yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right, can you see the screen? I couldn't tell I didn't hear if you said you could or not. You can?
Sorry, my microphone was messed up.
Oh, no, you're all good, dude. Okay, so you're in, we're good. And now we'll look from your perspective and we'll kind of see how you're playing it out. Biggest thing to make sure you never really, like, we'll talk about this a lot, but the biggest thing you want to never fuck up is you really want to make sure as you have the money, you're spinning your larva with whatever you're trying to spend it on. And so far you've done that. Then the second priority would be definitely making sure your mineral line is looking good. And not only with number, but also with saturation point, like the close patches and stuff. And you are doing that, which is great. You've done everything so far wonderful, except for that larva right there. That was a little delayed, but overall still pretty good. Your drone pull is correct. Pulling at like a 180 or so is like roughly 180. Could be like 175, could be 190. That's great because you're gonna arrive around like 300 minerals, which is exactly what you need to expand. So super good shit right there. I like it.
So far, so good.
Yep. So far, so good. These are the only things right here. Like, I'll just back it up one time really fast. The only thing right here that's really like, it adds up over time and it slows you down is when you do this a lot. So right now you're fine. I just backed it up to a point where you're fine. You're going to expand at around 300. You did it. But like right here. So like right now you're going to make a larva. And I think you do make one. You make your first one at... Okay, so you made none yet. Like that. So you have 100 minerals now. You can make both now. But what this means, like this kind of shit adds up a lot. And what happens is every single time you do this, and this matters all game. It so it matters all game when your objective is to make a drone. So there's two phases of the game, okay? I just want to make sure you understand this like very heavily, and everyone needs to like understand this. This is super important. This is why a Masters player or something like that would have an edge over you if you don't respect this. Every single time you have the amount of minerals you need to spin a larva, when the objective is to make a drone on that larva, every second you delay it, you're literally losing a mineral. And it's not just like, oh, well, if this larva was delayed by 8 seconds, it means I missed 8 larvae. Whatever. It's just 8 minerals. But the thing is if you miss too much of these, and it adds up super fast, suddenly it makes it to where like, okay, well now the next larva that you're going to spend, even if you spend it on time, because you're already like, let's say 40 minerals behind at a certain point in the game, let's say it's like 1 minute and 30 seconds, you're already 40 minerals behind. It means that you're only going to have 10 minerals when you should have had 50. And now that drone that you want to make then at that point is also now behind, even though you don't have the money for it yet, because you could have if you macroed perfectly. Which is how you start falling really far behind really fast, because it literally bleeds into future larvae, and you're never gonna have the ability to like fully recover ever, because it also then means now you're like, it adds up and it's like, well, now your natural could be delayed, your third base could be delayed, your fourth base could be delayed. That's more larva that's delayed. Everything just gets like progressively delayed when you're not making money as fast as you could be. So the real goal is Is why in B2GM I was talking about it a bit, where I was like, your finger should be rolling on 5SD, 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 5SD. You seriously just, you could, so like 5 just selects the hatchery, and then SD selects larva, and then it says drone, 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 drone. And there's no, I don't know if you have one, but there shouldn't be a hotkey. There should not be a hotkey that is S on this list, because if there is, you will attempt to make it if you're hitting SD, 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 SD. So S is like select larva. But when you're hitting D right now, it'll make a drone right away. And then as soon as it gets spent, 5 SD. As soon as it gets spent, 5 SD. And you're catching your larva. Like you're basically, the point is, you're trying to make your larva before you have the money to make your larva. And you're doing it all the time. And you're doing it so much that it becomes muscle memory, and it's not actively thinking about it. Because what you should be able to do is you should be able to, in the game, you should be able to be like, what do I want to do with my overlord? And you just made a drone. I want to send my overlord over there, and you just made a drone. I want to actually then scout over here, and you made a drone. I want to actually scout his natural, and then wrap around the back and look at the main and see what his gas count is, and you just made a drone. Like, your brain is thinking about something, a task you want to do, and your hand is macroing the whole fucking time, because that's just what it's automated. It's like breathing. It's not something you're actively thinking about. Oh yeah, I need to make a drone now. Oh, I need to make it. You should never be thinking I need to make a drone. You should just be doing it. That if you get,
it's like constantly with my fingers, just 5SD, 4SD, whatever.
Yeah. If you ever watch a StarCraft, like, so when you watch a player who plays StarCraft 2 and they hit their fingers on their keyboard like 1 time every 4 seconds, people are like, oh, this guy must be new to the game. And then if you watch a player who plays StarCraft 2 where he's like literally playing the fucking piano the entire time, and they're like, does he really need to play that fast? That guy is way better at this game because he's literally not using his brain to macro. He's using his brain to do other shit, and his body is macroing without his brain thinking about it. It's an automated function. Like, everybody eventually gets to this point if you play the game enough, but understanding that that's important will make you get better way faster. You have to, like, I'm not saying you should like wear out the key on your keyboard because you're slamming it as hard as you can, as fast as you can. But you should definitely, like, for instance, for me, I play super light. Like, I don't put a lot of pressure on the keys. But in the first, if you want an honest guess, okay, I would say in the first 7 minutes of a game, 7 minutes is about the whole macro cycle usually of what a game will be. Because after that, it's usually the army phase, and you're making like military units constantly and stuff like that. But in the first 7 minutes of a game of StarCraft 2, I literally hit 5 SD probably once per second, maybe even twice per second myself. So if I do that for 7 minutes, I'm doing it probably like 120 times a minute, and then multiplying that by 7, and I'm doing that. What is that? 840, I think, like 840 times in 7 minutes. So I'm literally hitting my 5SD, 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 800 plus times within 7 minutes. And it's not because I'm like,
never stopping. It's just like a constant like finger exercise.
Oh yeah, it is. Like, and again, you can do it really lightly on your keyboard. You don't have to press it super hard. But like this, if you want to be really good at StarCraft, if you want to get better way faster, making automated reflex in your as part of your gameplay instead of using your brain for everything is so important. Because not a single player who is Masters League or above thinks about macroing. They only think about micro, and they think about scouting and reactions and stuff like that. They might think, I need to stop droning now for a second. I need to make units because I don't want to die here. Like, that's fine. But they never think to themselves, okay, a drone's probably going to spawn right now. I need to make it. Another drone's probably going to spawn right now at a larva. I need to make it. They never think that. They're just fucking like, I'll just hit it 10 times, and one of these 10 times it's going to grab it. And like right away when it spawns. So that's, if you start playing like that, this kind of stuff will never happen. Or the larva just chills like that. Like the second larva was used great there. The first larva, not great. But then now you have another larva again right here where you want to drone again and you're not using it again. Which that shows me that's a sign, watching you play, that you macro cycle maybe once every 10 seconds rather than every single second. Which is, you've got to speed that up for sure. That is 100% your immediate, that's your immediate ticket out of Gold League right there. Like, I'm not even kidding. If we stopped the coaching lesson right now and that was it, you would get to platinum already if you did that.
Really?
100%.
That's okay. Well, I'll have to report back in a week or so.
Yeah, I'll see you next time, bro. Okay, second thing, your gas is way too early. You want to definitely, like, so your pool was fine, more or less. You took a 17 pool here. Or no, sorry, you took a 16 pool because you actually made the gas as well. But your pool is fine, but your gas, you want to take your gas when you drone back up to about 20 supply in top right here, and you're at 16 right now, so that's really low. And the reason why is because you still get mineral efficiency beyond 16, and it is still actually valuable. It's not like as good as the first 16. It's not as good as 2 drones per patch, but it is still valuable to have more than 16 drones on a mineral line. You still get value out of that up until 24, and then once you're at 25 plus, that actually gets 0 value at 25 and above. But you still get value above 16 is all I'm saying. So what you want to have happen here is you want this drone right now, you want it to not be undersaturating the mineral line right now. You want it to be mining that mineral line at the moment. And then you also do not want to have 3 drones get ripped off of your mineral line and go into that gas. That is the worst thing you can do right now. And then, because again, your build, ideally, if you're doing B2GM, I imagine you're not doing a Zergling build. You're doing
Roach Hydra.
Exactly. You're doing like a Roach wall off type of situation here. So having a really quick gas does nothing for that, because if you really think about it, the idea is you don't want to make roaches until you're at 2 base saturation, which is like 44 drones roughly. And if you were to take a gas and then take an immediate roach warren so you could spend that gas on roaches right now, you'd be making roaches instead of at 44, which is ideal, you'd be making them at like 25 drones, which is super under, which is like super all in. And if you don't attack with that and kill them with that, you're just behind as fuck. Like you're so far behind then in terms of economy and build up.
Okay.
So you can see the larva's happening again. You had 3 larvae there for a second. Brutal.
Still one.
And exactly, there is still 1. So like that's exactly what like that shit right there is exactly what I'm looking at. Like as a coach, my perspective here is like this. I'm watching your larva a lot because this is the golden rule of Zerg. You cannot break. If you break this, your league goes down 100%. This is why players are in the league they're in, how much they respect larva. And then when I see this right here, where I see you build it, like right now, I go, okay, he built it. But then that's a perfect example of going, how often does he build it?
Like once every 10 seconds.
Exactly. It is like literally once every 10 seconds. So it's super inconsistent. And then now you have 2 larvae again. That's chilling again. So this is, that
So
was,
it's just, yeah, it's the 5 SD 5, or I don't know why, but I use 4.
that's fine. That's totally, no. It's your opinion. So let me tell you why I use 5. If you like 4, totally fine. The reason why I like 5 SD is because I'm a Warcraft 3 player. Like I played Brood War as well, but I would say became really good at RTS in Warcraft 3. And in Warcraft 3, I would always micro 3 or 4 control groups at the same time. So I would, because that game did not have like a select all army hotkey. That game was like 12 units max, and that game was very micro oriented. So I would have units split up in that game by category. I'd be like, okay, these are my casters, these are my heroes, these are my melee units, this is my siege. I'd usually have like 4 control groups so I could micro like as perfectly as I wanted to without disrupting other units. So I like my production to be on 5. That's just my opinion. That's just what I like. So I like to have 4 microable hotkeys. And that's exactly what I do in StarCraft 2. Like 1 is usually my ground units, 2 is my air units, 3 is my casters, and 4 is usually my siege, which is Swarmhost or Broodlord or something. But yeah, like,
I don't even really hotkey my army.
you shouldn't be yet. Don't worry about it yet. That is something you should worry about when you're in Diamond League. I'm not even kidding. Because all you should be doing right now is fixing shit. Like we're gonna get to more shit in a second, but fixing stuff like this, like your larva, is what you need to be doing right now. Because that is so much more important than microing your units. Because the best way to explain this, and hopefully a simple way to say it, is it's better to not micro a large army than to micro a couple units. Because there are numbers in this game that exist. It's math. It's just simple math. And if you just don't have the numbers that you need, you die no matter what you're doing. So if you have like,
the map in the world.
what's up? Sorry.
It's all about macro, right? I mean,
No, it really is 100%. Like basically, let me say it like this: you and I could be playing a game against each other, okay? And I feel like I am a former pro gamer, okay? I have pretty good micro overall, I would say. And if let's just say you had 10 roaches and I have 3, there is not a fucking thing I can do to win that fight if you're on a move and I'm on full micro. Because and this is why some people out there might be like, yes, you could, Vibe, you totally can. But here it is, okay? If you are on a move and your goal is to fucking a move, shift a move around my bases, and you're gonna kill drones, you're gonna kill hatcheries and my queen, and you're gonna like just work through my base, and all I have is 3 roaches, and you have 10. The amount of time and bullshit I would have to deal with to like burrow and like fucking micro recovery my roaches to kill all 10 of yours with just 3 would take so fucking long for me to win that fight that you would just ruin my economy anyways. I would still lose the game either way. Because like that's too much time for like the 10 roaches just to have damage output. That's just going to be like uncontested, where it's going to kill my base and it's going to kill my economy. And this exact same the exact same thing could be said if you had like 30 roaches and I had like 9, which is the exact same ratio there. It's 3 to 10, 30 to 9. If you have 30 roaches and I have 9 roaches, I'm not fucking winning that fight, no matter how much I micro. Because even if I eventually kill all your roaches, all my fucking hatcheries are dead by the time that happens, and I'm still dead anyways. That is just how this game works. So micro only becomes a factor when one of 2 things is happening. Number 1, when your army is super, super, super high tech, diversified, and has a lot of micro potential. Like if you have, like an example would be a Terran player who has a lot of ghosts. Like if you don't micro those, they are so much worse than if you do micro those. You have a Zerg player who is going on like 10 lurkers. If you don't micro those, they are so much worse than if you do micro those. If you have a Protoss player who has 10 carriers, he could AFK because it's the same way either way. Because Protoss is easy. No, I'm just joking.
Hating on Protoss.
That was funny. But for real though, like micro is something that only matters when you actually have like a math equation where it could go either way, and if you actually control things, it can like skew the favor to your advantage a little bit. And but that would mean that your macro is of a certain caliber that can support that. But if you, like I said before, if your macro looks like a player who actually macros well is going to have 30 units and you have 9 of the same unit, it doesn't matter how much you micro there, you're dead because you're just fucked. Like there's no way that's going to work out well for you.
Yeah, no, I get it that like I'm so far from micro really helping me, except for like in certain situations, but I'm trying to focus on macro definitely. But it gets hard because I get distracted when I start getting harassed and stuff like that too, and then they rush me all the time.
Well, so, if this game, I hope it has harassment, and if it doesn't, we can talk about super simple things you can do. It's like, think about it like this, okay? Think about it like this. You should be, like, in B2GM, you should be playing the game like it's fucking chess. You should be playing the game, like, off the minimap, not like it's an action RPG, or like an action RPG, but not like it's like a action RTS game where it's like, okay, I'm in the fight and I'm fucking shit up and I'm, like, dealing with this. It's literally like just playing chess. It'd be like, as simple as this. Okay, he's attacking my left side of the board. I'm going to take my fucking rook and I'm going to go over there. I'm going to take my knight and go over there. It'd be literally like saying, I'm going to have 10 roaches, just A-move that area. And then you don't even need to micro it. Because if your macro is up to par, it's like you actually have the pieces on a chessboard to play with. But if you don't macro, it'd be like saying, oh, he's attacking my left side of my map. I'm going to send nothing yet because I don't have any units. I have like 1 pawn. And it has to deal with a fucking queen or some shit, and it's like not the correct battle. If that does that make sense?
Actually, a lot, because I actually really like chess. I'm not good either, but do you play chess?
I'm fucking terrible at chess. I know the rules of chess mostly, but yeah, I know all the pieces. I know what they can do, all that shit.
I'm like gold league in chess.
Yeah, I'm fucking awful. I think I've probably played like 30 games of chess in my life. Like I don't play very much. But yeah.
I would rate if in converting chess rating to StarCraft, I'm like also Gold League. In
Okay,
chess,
I'm
so.
probably fucking bronze in gold in chess. Like, I played chess.com, and my rating on chess.com, I've barely played that, by the way. I played maybe 15 games in total on chess.com, or 10, and my rating is like 400. It's fucking super low. Like, I try to, because the thing is, I play 5-minute chess when I play it, and I do super fast shit, and I'm like, this will be smart, this will be smart, this will be smart, and then I'm like, oh, I just fucked myself. Okay, well, never mind. That was stupid. I don't actually, like, I just play fast. I just do shit. But it's the same. You understand the concept though, which is really good.
Totally, yeah. But,
yeah.
So it's like more like playing on the mini map. Like you're not even.
Oh,
looking at
100% it
individual
is.
Units. You're just looking at like where's my blobs, where's their blobs on the mini map.
The thing is even when you're a GM player, you don't stop playing on the mini map. You just not only play on the mini map, you also play on the screen. But when you're a diamond, or when you're below Diamond League, when you're like bronze, silver, gold, plat, you only play on the mini map. You don't play on the screen. But this is the thing. Everybody likes to think, Vibe says that, but I'm gonna play on the fucking screen. Like everyone I fucking watch, they always do something on the screen every time, and you don't need to. Like that is literally like there's a investment of time to value, and your time could be better valued macroing more, it's creep spreading more, taking another base, fixing your mineral lines, injecting larva, using your larva faster, all these things, like getting upgrades going, not supply blocking. All these things can be better uses of your time rather than ignoring all of that and then just controlling like 10 roaches attacking someone's base. Because 9 times out of 10, players that are lower level anyways don't know how to micro properly anyways. They don't understand all the rules of micro. So a lot of times what actually happens is when they control the units, they make it almost worse than if they just didn't touch them at all and let the AI do it for them. Like, for instance, I'll see people that they don't think, like, this is one really common example. A lot of players don't think how much health a building has and how much damage a unit does. And they'll go, oh, there's a building right there that I want to kill. I'm going to focus fire that. And then the building doesn't die and their army dies because their opponent focus fires their army off the build. Like, their opponent kills the army off of their building while it's focus firing the building. So at most they weaken the building. And if it's like Zerg or Terran, it can just be repaired essentially. And if it's Protoss, it just regenerates its shields. And it's like, well, you just threw your whole army away to weaken a building that didn't actually die. And now that was a terrible attack. When if it just A-moved it, it would actually take trades against army, and like if they won the fight, then it would still kill the building.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, micro is it's a lot to take in right now, which is why I don't try to teach people micro really early on, because it is useful, but it's also not useful if it comes at the cost of not macroing. Then it is actually counterproductive, which is what I think it is.
Yeah, I just try to do minimal micro, just like attack the area. I try not to do anything fancy.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to, you can. I mean, it is a game and it's supposed to be for fun, right? And if that's what you want to do, you can. But the main reason why, just to make you understand, the main reason why I don't like people microing in low leagues is because there are 2 ways to micro, and one is you just micro, and another is you multitask while you micro. And everyone who is good at the game will multitask while they micro, and people who are struggling to get good at the game will only micro. They just won't fucking do, like, they tunnel vision the micro and they do nothing else. And then they're like, 30 seconds goes by and they're like, wow, I'm really far behind now. Like, it's, wow, I have so much money I didn't spend this whole time. I didn't fucking creep spread at all. I'm supply blocked. It's like all these fucking problems just like build up and they just ignore them all and then try to fix them all later. And then it's like forever being bogged down and being behind the whole game.
Yep.
Okay, so number 2, behind larva, like we talked about, mineral priority. This is exactly why we talked about why I didn't want you to take a gas early on. You have now prioritized your gas over your minerals. And if you really think about it, your entire build right now is mineral based. Like everything you're gonna do up until about 4 minutes is minerals only. So this gas, all that's gonna happen is it's gonna stockpile up and it's gonna sit there. It's gonna sit there and do nothing. And it's just gonna be, you're gonna have like 200 gas or like 250 gas in the bank before you even really need to start spending it. So it's just way too early. It's like too early by probably like 30 seconds.
So 20. I should probably get it like now at 20 supply.
You should be starting the gas, like building it at 20 supply.
Okay.
And because this is the quota you should be aiming for that would tell you if you did it correct or incorrect. If you build your spawning pool at 18 supply behind your hatchery, so hatchery first at like 16, spawning pool at 18. If you make your gas at 20, what should happen is, as long as you did not delay your queen production at all, as soon as the spawning pool finished, as long as this was on time, as the queen finishes, you should be hitting exactly 100 gas to start a layer. If you have more gas than that, you don't need it, because you're not doing anything with it yet. It's going to happen later. That would have been fine. There's another concept that a lot of people, I don't know if they understand this or not, but it's really important to know this. There are 0 reasons in StarCraft 2, besides all-ins, to ever stockpile gas in the opening of a game. Like the only reason why it would ever make sense to go, I'm going to take a gas as a priority over the mineral line, ever, would be like if I'm going to go for a Baneling all-in, or if I'm going to go for a Ravager all-in, or if I'm going to proxy a hatchery and do roaches, or something like that. If that's your plan, I would be like, this is fine. Yeah, you're doing some all-in right now, and we can talk about that, and then that's what you're doing. That's fine. But if your plan is like, I'm going to take a mineral line, and then I'm going to take an expansion, and I'm going to saturate it, and then I'm going to take a third base, and I'm going to defend it. I'm going to expand a lot. If that's your plan, this gas is so counterproductive to that, because it's just going to slow everything down massively by these drones not mining minerals, which they 100% could be feeding you faster to spin your larva faster, to make your queens faster, to get your third base faster, to get a queen for that base faster, to get your creep spread going faster because queens come faster. You can make more queens faster than 2. Like, so many benefits come out of, you can, like, your larva is always getting spent the second it's up, which also turns into making everything faster because it gives you drones faster. It's just a lot of reasons why it's so important.
My dog's throwing shit, if you heard that. I don't know.
Oh yeah, you're fine. I thought that was you
But that was my
throwing
dog.
shit. You're like, fuck this game.
No, my dog's throwing shit.
Yeah, I know, I'm just fucking with you. All right. So your overlord gets in.
So I noticed here his pool was not done, or his hatch was not done.
Yep.
And mine was.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, he'd probably build a pool first.
Yeah, 100%. If you ever go for like a 16 hatch, and your opponent does not, your opponent goes for instead like this shit where he goes pool first and then goes for hatchery afterwards, there absolutely is possibility of aggression. It doesn't have to guarantee there is. This guy might just be also really paranoid, and he might be like, I want to play safe because I don't like dying to all in, so I'm going to make sure I'm safe here, which is going to come at the cost of macro, because obviously if he goes this first and makes zerglings instead of drones and delays the natural, that's less larva, and that's also less drones, which means less money coming in, which allows him to grow faster. So that's he's definitely slowing himself down to have units, but obviously you have to worry about those if he's going to attack you with those as well. So I would say a perfect response to this would actually be, believe it or not, no zerglings, 1 spine crawler, and your queen you already made would be fine. Because what you could do is, if the zerglings decide they want to attack the spine crawler, by the time they get to your base, with how late these were, okay? So these lings were not super fast. These lings were not like 12 poolings. They're definitely pretty late. If they were 12 poolings, he would already be at your base by like 1 minute 45, 1 minute 50. But these lings are pretty late. So essentially, if we go back to the moment when you saw his base, which is right here. So I actually have a quick question for you too. Do you always drone scout?
Yeah, I usually try to drone scout after I build my natural.
I would recommend not doing that. The only reason why I say that is because this drone scout saves you about like 3 seconds of information time compared to the Overlord. Like, your Overlord actually should be seeing the natural by about 2 minutes. So your Overlord could have been a little faster as well in terms of moving out from your base right away. But your Overlord should be at the natural by about 2 minutes.
So you wouldn't even drone scout?
No.
If you were...
No. I think the drone scouting is not necessary. Because your Overlord is going to give you information fast enough to be able to react anyways. Because if you think about it, your natural isn't even done yet. It's finishing like right now. You can't even, and your pool just finished. So, because like you haven't even started a queen yet, as you can see, if we back it up like 4 seconds, your pool will be like under construction still. Right? So your pool like just finished at like 158. So you can now start making a reaction, which is like when your Overlord should be, like honestly your Overlord I would say should be like right about there. I feel like your Overlord was like a little late at moving out. Because again, you should be seeing the natural right about 2 minutes, if not by about like between 2 to 2:05. Like you should definitely be seeing the your opponent's natural right about then. And that is like all you don't even need to see. Like, so all you need to see is this. This is all you need to see to know what you need to know. You do not need to see this to understand what is happening right now. Because your reaction is the same either way. It should be the same either way, regardless of what's happening in here. This is the only thing that changes your reaction. So if you saw a hatchery that was finished right now, like just like yours is, it's like finishing into completion right now. Then it would be like, cool, don't need a spine crawler. We can make drones. We could do our normal build. But if it's like, a hatchery that is halfway done, mine's done. That's a lot of difference here. The hatchery is 71-second build time. So that's like half a minute now. That is... what the fuck is he doing for that half a minute? What else happened here? What could this be? And exactly like you said, the only answer could be a pool first. So if you want to play safe versus someone who went pool first, starting a spine crawler in your natural as a reaction to that, totally fine. You made 2. I think that's a bit excessive. I don't recommend 2 ever, no matter what. I would always recommend just 1. Because you're going to make roaches anyways, like not too far away. And the more spines you make, the more it's going to delay the roaches, and the roaches are really what you want, not the spines. You just want 1 spine to buy you time to get to the roaches. But like this right here, when you scouted into his base, that meant nothing. That could have been a double gas. It could have been 1 gas. It could have been the pool could have been over there. It could have been an evo chamber. Nothing would have mattered, because again, your reaction is going to be a roach warren, an evo chamber yourself, and you're going to drone up, and then you're going to make roaches. And it doesn't matter if he's going Roach Bane. It doesn't matter if he's going Roach Ling. If he's going Ling Bane. If he's going Roach. If he's going Roach Ravager. Whatever the fuck he's doing, it does not matter, because your roaches will beat all of it if you have more. So like a proper reaction is not necessary here, because like that comes later in like Diamond Plus when players start getting more efficient. Because I'm going to tell you right now, what he did is not efficient. Like, this is super inefficient, but the way he is attacking you. This is so fucking late, and this is standard for Gold League. So if one, like that's why I said it. I'm not even kidding. If we stopped the coaching lesson and just learning how to use larva properly, you would get promoted. The whole reason why players are stuck in Gold League is because they have so many inefficiencies in their build built on top of each other, and it's just a mess. And it's like who makes less of a mess is going to win, essentially.
We'll see in a week if I'm still in Gold League or not.
I think you'll get promoted if you like really hard focus on the larva. You're gonna be like, wow, how am I winning these games so fucking easy? I guarantee that's gonna go through your brain. You're gonna be like, what the fuck? Like, this guy just dies. Okay.
I'm just never gonna stop making drones. First 7 minutes.
Seriously, it's so good. If this was me, I would not drone a single time. Or sorry, I would not make a single Zergling, and I would have made 1 spine, because I fully expect when his lings get across the map, your queen is going to buy you enough time to have the spine finish, and then you're going to be fine. The only thing I might do to make sure my queen doesn't die is I might tuck my queen like right there. Like, walk her right there. So that when the lings come in over, they don't fully surround her. They get like bottlenecked in this weird spot right here where they get like stupid as fuck right here because they walk through the minerals and they can't walk through the gas. So you put a door, it's like having a wall. You put a doorway there, and if your opponent is not active enough to like rotate the lings around and surround it, and they just A move it and forget about it, your queen could literally kill all 6 lings. But even if you don't move your queen could still inject the hatchery. You could make another one, and your queen might die, but then by the time it dies, one spine would be done, and it will deal with all the lings before the spine's even finished. And if he runs around you like that, literally, this queen should not be in the front like this. This queen should just be in the back. Put it like right there again, or like right there again. And that way it will guard the mineral. What's up, sorry?
Sorry, so it just seems like queen's in the back. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, like, so when you move the queen forward like this, now what's going to happen, if you don't correct this right now, these sixlings will kill your queen. And you'll kill maybe one zergling. Which is now going to, that now causes a problem. This is now going to cause chaos for you a little bit. Because if you think about it, this queen did not need to help this queen because this queen had it under control. Because like because of what we talked about, because there's a spine backing her up, essentially. And drones if you really want it to be. And drones, by the way, are almost as good as zerglings. Like, one drone is almost as good as one zergling. The attack speed is definitely in favor of a zergling over a drone. But a drone has 5 more health, and they do the exact same amount of damage. So, like, and the thing is this is 6 zerglings. If you had, like, 12 drones fight 6 zerglings and a queen's there, there's a good chance you might not lose a single drone. And all the lings would die. So, like drones are actually pretty fucking good against zerglings. They're not bad. Early game like this. But now, you're going to kill the one zergling. You start weakening another one, and your queen dies. So, having your queen fight by yourself like that, not great. Because best case scenario, if your queen's going to fight lings like that, and you're going to tank all of them like that, you want to actually kill lings off your queen with your drones. So we are going to talk a little bit about micro now, because that just happened, right? So, if you can... There's 2 ways, again, we could deal with what just happened. And we already kind of touched on both of them for a second. But now let's explain why they're relevant and why they're good, okay? So if the queen were to be tucked in the back, like in like there or some shit, to where only one zergling or maybe 2 at a time could hit the queen. You don't really need a lot of drones to help with that, because the queen is like dueling one ling at a time. And a queen could beat one zergling with like only losing maybe 20% of its health bar. And then it could beat another zergling and another one and another one and another one. And by the time it gets to like the 6th zergling, it might die. But you could have your drones help kill like eventually while your queen just fights it. And you could do it by like literally saying all my drones on this side of the mineral line. Let's say your queen's right there, okay? Like under the spawning pool. And let's say you took this whole side of the mineral line and mineral walked, like said, mine those minerals right there. This patch right here. And all your drones like stack up. And they go through the zerglings. And they're going to go mine right there on that patch. And all the zerglings are like right there trying to get on the queen. And then you A-move when you're right there. And now all the drones drill into the zerglings. And they help the queen DPS them down. And now suddenly you have, like let's say it's like 12 drones. All just did 5 damage. And they just did 60 damage immediately to all the zerglings. A queen does 8 damage per hit to a ground unit. Because it does 4 times 2. And it would take the queen... what is that? That's 8 times what is 60? 8 times 8 basically is like 64. So essentially like 8 hits to it would take the queen 8 fucking hits to match what you just did in like 1 auto attack with your drones. So drones are actually your real DPS here. Like if we really think like versus like zerglings like this, drones actually are doing because there's so many of them. There's so many sources of it. You could actually do more damage with drones here. Which is, again... And then if the drones win the fight, and the fight's over, and you go right back to mining minerals, drones are like double positive, because now they're also mining minerals. So in a situation like this, when your opponent sends 6 lings at you, and that's it, you don't need to freak out. It's not a big deal. Don't need double spine crawler. 1 spine's plenty. In case there's more lings that come a little bit later. Because by then you'll be like walled off with a roach warren and shit. But like this first 6, again, not super intimidating. Drones can handle it, no problem. And you'd be fine. And if you back the queen up, you could have literally killed the drones, or you could have used your drones to kill the lings off the queen before the queen even died. Because the queen has 175 health with 1 armor. So a zergling is going to take 4 damage per hit to kill her. Like 4 damage per hit to just to do damage to her. And you have to ask yourself, how many times does 4 have to be added up to go past 175? And that's like 43 hits, or that, no, 44 hits. It would take 44 fucking hits from Zerglings to kill a queen. And it's like not even including regeneration. It would probably take like 45 hits because the queen's going to regenerate a few health during the process. So the point I'm trying to make is, if 6 lings can attack you, they will build up to that relatively fast. But if your queen kills a Zergling and your drones kill some Zerglings, you could also kill the lings really fast because they die super quick. Like 8 hits from drones and a ling's dead. And if you have like 12 drones fighting, you could be killing probably 2 lings in like 2 auto attacks. Essentially.
So don't have your queen die out front, bring him in the back.
Yeah, like the safest place a queen can be is between reduced surface area spots, like between mineral patches. Like if you had a roach horn and evo chamber here, the safest spot to be would be between the buildings rather than in the middle of nowhere. So because it reduces the surface area of melee units to attack her. So she lives longer, she lasts longer. And she gets to attack the entire time, so it gives her more DPS uptime to kill what's there as well. So one of the safest spots a queen can be is between the mineral lines, because it acts just like a wall does, because lings can't kill mineral patches. They can't do shit about it. They just have to like walk around it, and if they can't, then only 1 ling at a time gets to attack. Or a queen could be standing in the middle of the mineral line. You could literally stand like right there with the queen, in the very fucking middle. And if your opponent attacks and moves into you, all the lings will aggro onto the queen, guaranteed, because it's a hostile unit, and you can literally go like this. Everything, green box your entire mineral line, move the ground, like, don't even click a Zergling, move the ground, like, right there. Just move the ground first, then hold shift and right-click a mineral patch. And I guarantee your queen would not die, you'd kill all those lings, and you'd probably also lose, like, no drones, because your queen would be the one taking the damage, while all your drones kill the lings off of her, and she'd probably live with, like, orange health. Like, maybe like 40 hit points out of 175.
Got it.
And then you'd lose nothing. And then you'd be like, oh, cool, I'm going right back to injecting my larva and making drones again. But now having to, like, chase these lings and shit, not ideal, for sure. So your queen comes up and helps, which is nice. However, you did not inject either one of your bases. You have not yet started another queen at either one of your bases. Your macro now is super far behind. Because by now, not even including the larva that is on the hatcheries themselves, but by now, the injects should be, you should have already injected once, and it should be, it should be popping off, and you should be able to inject again right now as the next one starts. Because your queens spawn with 25 health, and then they build up over time, and every single time you generate 25 energy, that is the perfect amount of time that an inject is going to pop off the hatchery, and then you're going to have another one go onto it. So this is from 25 to 50 essentially. You've missed an entire inject on both hatcheries, which is 6 larvae in total, because it's 3 per hatchery. And then still not one inject has been started. So you've already missed 2 injects, and now you're going to have missed 4. Start going right now. You're now missing 4 injects, like starting with the 3 and 4 here. And you haven't started another queen yet. And you're making lings, so now you're freaking out. And this is, again, the most common problem most people have. Because every single time you make the second spine crawler, every Zergling you make, all of these things, and that's not, again, not even including, the biggest thing that's a fuck up that for you that matters the most is not injecting and not fixing your queens, like, immediately. But, because you're just so far behind on larva. But all of this shit, the lings and spine, that's a drone right there. That's a drone. That's a drone. That's a drone. That's a drone. That's also cost. Not only is it not drones, and it could have been drones, but it's also a lot of money you're investing into something that literally does nothing besides makes you feel safe. When what really should make you feel safe is a roach warren, an evo chamber, and a queen in the doorway, and one spine crawler backing her up. That is so much safer than all of this shit that's randomly scattered around your base. Because what it does is it prevents him from even getting to the middle line, period. And it also makes you have more drones faster. And as weird as it sounds, this is a concept that you should try to think about StarCraft 2 in. It's actually safer to get to the ideal drone count you want to be at first, and then start making units because if you get there first, it takes away the whole guessing game of what's he doing, I don't know, what could he be doing. You already have that point where you're at that unit production phase where now if he is being aggressive in some weird way, you will literally outproduce him over time anyways. So the game goes in your favor the entire time. And this kind of shit is going to happen to you all the fucking time in Masters League. People are going to this is what you would call harassment. Everybody harasses in like Masters League, Diamond. A lot of people harass in Diamond. Everybody harasses in Masters. Everybody harasses in GM. And you have to be able to assess harassment as harassment and go, okay, not an all-in. We don't need to freak out. We just need to have some system in place. Like we talked about how this game could have been for you with the queen, where she could have been and stuff like that. And then you'd be fine. And then you could go right back to getting yourself to that point of like ideal drone count. Because this could have been like one adept. It could have been like a reaper, 2 reapers. And if your reaction is the same on these things, you're just going to fall so far behind in the mid game, and you're always going to have this like weird mid game being behind situation going on that's going to be hard to recover from.
Got it. I'm excited to take this and try to do better and then show you again.
Yeah, no, it sounds good. I mean, this is like what you're showing me too. Definitely don't like feel like it's like, oh, this is just you. This is everybody. Everyone does the same shit. Like everyone freaks out. Like for instance, let me tell you a quick story, okay? And also, don't worry about time. I'm gonna tell you a story. This is on my own time. I want to share a story with you really fast, okay? I'm not gonna mix this into your hour or whatever. But I was talking to I'm living with a guy right now who is also a StarCraft 2 pro gamer, and we were talking about like StarCraft stuff, like 2 days ago or 3 days ago. And we were like,
sorry to interrupt, but which pro gamer?
His name's Greytorp. He's like a caster. He was a Terran player. He's definitely from Wings of Liberty.
Awesome. Sorry.
No, you're totally fine. I thought you'd be like, oh, I know him. I know that guy. But yeah, you're all good. But we were talking. We both coached people before. And we were talking about what it's like to coach someone who is learning the game, like learning the macro side of the game. And we both we both knew this already because we've coached a lot of people, but it's funny just sharing stories with someone else who has like similar perspective on my side where you teach people. And everyone always panics, thinks they're going to die, overreacts, and they always over prioritize gas. Every time. And like as soon as people will start to realize I'm not going to die here if I just get to that point that is actually safe. Because think about it like this, okay? Think about this is actually I just thought about a way to word this that might make a lot of sense. You feel unsafe. So you're taking precautions because you feel unsafe. But if you actually understood what the goal was to make you feel safe faster, the feeling of insecurity would go away so much sooner in the game if you just understood what the goal was to make yourself feel like you're safe and you're in charge of the game. But most people that are learning the game don't know what that like the parameter is to feel safe. So they spend the entire early game feeling like they're unsafe, and then they just overreact and go, this will make me feel a little safer even though the overall situation is unsafe. This will make me feel a little safer even though I still feel like I'm gonna die. The real situation, all it is to feel safe is a wall. It's easier to have a Terran player feel safe because every single time you're like, okay, your opening should be a depot, a barracks, and a depot. And they're like, oh, phew, I don't die now. Random bullshit doesn't kill me. Cool, I'm good to go. Same thing with Protoss. Your opener is a pylon with a gateway and a core and maybe another gateway and a battery behind it. And your unit's in the doorway. They're like, oh, nice. I don't die now. This is way easier. I don't got to think about shit. So much fucking easier to like deal with bullshit. That's exactly why your goal for Zerg should be a Roach Warren, Evo Chamber, leave a gap in the doorway, put a queen inside of it. And now you don't have to think about shit. You're just like, cool, doorway's sealed. I'm good to go. And I can now, I don't have to worry about like random lings running in my base and banelings that might flood in the side while I'm chasing lings over here and it just gets fucking ridiculous. Like nothing matters anymore because your door is sealed for like for a brief period of time. And it allows you to get through that hurdle really fucking fast, which is saturating 2 bases. And then suddenly you're also making roaches now, which now even reinforce that door even harder. And then the rest of it's just easy peasy. Because now you have roaches which can just sit in good locations that would make your life way easier. So like one thing about your wall here that needs to be fixed is your roach warren is too... So I want to explain this in a way as well that's going to be very approachable and understandable. Think of a piece of graph paper. And a piece of graph paper is like a bunch of boxes, right? It's like a grid. A roach warren is a 3 by 3. It's 3 long by 3 wide. So it's overall 9 grid spots. And right now you have all 3 grid spots on the south end of the roach warren overlapping the wall. And you only need 1 grid spot to overlap the wall to have a wall. So what should happen is the roach warren should be shifted over by 2 grid spots. So if you shifted it like this, that would be perfect placement roach warren, because it would still have overlap on this part of the wall right here. This far right grid spot would still be like the 3rd one, because this one in the middle and this one on the left don't actually matter, but the one on the right, it does. And this would actually wall off the ramp here, which would allow your roach warren to extend like that instead, which would make it way easier to connect the wall to the other side. But instead, it's super far away, so now you actually might need 3 Evo chambers instead of 2 to get a genuine good wall, good looking wall here. Because if you had your roach warren like that instead, you could leave a gap right there. Like this line right here could be an entire like open gap where nothing is there, okay? And right above it, there could be an Evo chamber right there. And there could be another Evo chamber like right here. And then you'd have your queen in a doorway like right there between the roach warren and between the Evo chamber. Right there. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you had that, your spine crawler could still be where it is. It could be just like right next to the Evo chamber, because you could definitely fit 2 Evo chambers between that, and that would be a full wall. That is definitely 6 grid spots wide right there. And I don't expect you to understand that yet, but I think that when you start thinking about this game architecturally, you'll start to see it yourself too. You'll start to understand it. Yeah, so that right there would keep you super safe. It would keep you super safe, because your queen again cannot be bursted by melee units. The only melee unit that can burst a queen out is a bunch of banelings. And I'm not gonna lie, if a Zerg player rams you with banelings before you have roaches, if you're macroing flawlessly, their follow-up to whatever comes after that is going to be so fucking small that your spine crawler would kill it. Because they're like, it is physically impossible. Like it takes a lot of banes to kill a queen, and it is physically impossible not only to mine enough gas to make enough banes to just make it be a serious problem by the time you're going to be at 2 base saturation, but it's also impossible to then also make an army as well that's going to be there as well. That's going to be able to all in you, not only to kill a queen, but also to then break into your base and kill you all together. Like, and also deal with the spine. And deal with more queens behind the queen. Like, you should have 3 queens at the start, because you should be having, your build should be queen, queen, second queen, layer.
Okay. I'm a little nervous about time. I know it's, I don't want to like take more of your time.
You're fine, dude. You're all good. I see the time. And right now we're actually at 58 minutes. And I'm fully willing to give you like 90 right now. It's totally fine. As long as you have the time, then you're well good.
For another session too.
You do not need to close your goddamn wallet. Keep it. I appreciate it. I do appreciate that. It's super. The incentive is very appreciated, but you're totally fine. I feel like whenever my rule of coaching is whenever the conversation's like good and we're having like solid breakthroughs for somebody, I do not mind going over time a bit. It's totally fine. But if like we're just like hitting points on the head and the person's like wants no explanation at all and they're like, no, I'm good, I got it, let's move on to the next point, then it will probably take like an hour exactly, and we'll just be done. So you're don't even worry about it. You're totally fine. Yeah, no worries. And I'm stressing really hard on the opener because this is your foundation for every game. So if your foundation is unstable, your whole game's gonna be fucked. And see how that's a problem again? By 4 minutes and 21 seconds, this should not be a doorway, an open wall anymore. This should be a door that is closed by Queen Evo. and you should already be done droning by now, and you should have your gases rolling. Like, essentially, this should be fully completed. This should be fully completed. Your layers should be done. You should be starting roach speed and +1 weapons by now. You should have probably like 8 roaches by now. And in reality, what should be happening is you should have like maybe your queen or 1 roach in your doorway right here. And you should have like 7 roaches escorting a drone to expand right here. Like, you should have an expansion started right here and like 6 or 7 roaches like right here guarding it. That's what should be happening right now if you were on point. The only reason why that's not happening is because you never injected your hatcheries for a long time. Your queen died. You made a bunch of fucking spine crawlers. You took your gas super early. You did not manage your larva properly. You made a fuckload of lings. Like, all these things are massively deterring the efficiency of your build. Yeah, a wall off is your best friend for sure, because then nothing in your all this surface area is meaningless. And see how like right now again, you made a bunch of lings again. You want to ideally you want to make 0 lings, because this unit is not what you're upgrading. It's like you want to be making +1 move speed roaches, and making speedless 0/0 zerglings with no banding nest is like hot garbage in terms of a unit. It's so bad. Like, I'm not even kidding. If I were you, I would rather these lings. Let's say I took over right now. Okay, let's say this was me and I just like sat down in the chair and now I'm playing this game. I would have rather these lings have been drones, because I honestly think I would lose less than this amount of drones if I had all my drones A-move these zerglings, rather than having these zerglings try to fight these zerglings and chase them around super slow while he just runs around my base and picks a drone, runs around my base, picks a drone, runs around my base, picks a drone. Because he can literally, he could do that. Like, if you have slowlings trying to deal with speedlings, he could run away from you, drag you down, and then you're like, let's say you're right here and he's right here, and he runs now up. He focus fires 1 or 2 drones out. Your lings catch up. He runs away. He drags you down. You chase. He's over here. You're over here. He runs up, kills 1 or 2 drones. You finally get there. He runs away. Like, he could do that all day, because you're just like slow as fuck, and he's like a fucking Ferrari running through your base, which is not what you want. And again, all these problems would be avoided if you just had a wall here. That would complete everything. It would make everything super easy to deal with. So like right now, I definitely do not want you saturating these gases, because again, you're not even at 16 yet. This is taking you very long to get to 16. By like 6 minutes, ideally. So here's another quota for you, okay? By 6 minutes, what should actually be happening roughly right now is your third base should not only be protected by roaches, but it should also be fully saturated. And I'm not going to lie, with the way this game has gone, I know it looks like you're like, this guy made the Lings vibe. Is that even possible? It absolutely is possible. Because the thing is Lings are fucking terrible versus roaches when roaches have +1 weapons, and when roaches have speed, and when roaches have a decent number. Lings get such bad efficiency over, like, the bigger the roach number gets, the worse lings are. So your unit scales better than his does. And if and then also lings require surface area, roaches do not. So all you have to do to deal with lings is put your roaches just like you did with queens. Like, be like, hey roaches, maybe like sit in there, and like some of you can like sit outside a little bit, some of you can sit inside. And like maybe the roaches on the outside get like half surrounded, and then the roaches on the inside get like 1 ling at a time, and like 2 roaches could fit in here. Or you could put them up here, or you could put them right there. If you had like 8 roaches sitting right there in a blob, and like 1 roach is right there, this 1 roach could get hit by like probably 2 lings, and then as the zerglings try to fight into it, they're going to be hitting like 1 ling at a time, attacking roaches. The only way you can fix that is if he always micros go around, up, around, and attack from the back. But then if he does that, let's say you just pay attention for a second to this, you can literally green box your roaches and say move command down a little bit, and have your roaches then stop when they're like stuck right here, there. So now you're using this as a choke point on the south side, and all his lings are bottlenecked right there. Like, reducing surface area for lings is so easy to do if you just kind of understand surface area is the worst enemy of a Zergling. They need it so bad, and if you take it away from them, this unit sucks ass. And you don't have to micro, really. You just need to position yourself. You can even pre-position yourself and then never touch it again. So you can literally sit here the entire time with roaches, and he'll probably come from the inside of the hatchery first, and then just never touch it again. You can even sit against the hatchery and have half surface area and call it a day, and you'd still perform well because you're not getting fully surrounded repeatedly. Like, the worst thing you could do is have, like, roaches scattered, and they're, like, way out here. And then he's getting full surrounds, and you're like, okay, well, this unit sucks. Roaches are bad. Well, you're not using it correctly because you're letting it get fully surrounded repeatedly. But, again, if you had, like, roaches in the mineral line, and then you had something blocking your doorway here, there's nothing this guy could have done this whole game with Zerglings. So far, as to what's happened so far. And you'd be so much further ahead, too. Being at 34 drones at 6 minutes is very slow. Right now, you should be almost 70 drones. But so far, I know I talk a lot, but so far, do you have questions about what we've talked about? Does anything not make sense?
No, I mean, that makes sense. I think the biggest thing is, like, never stop droning and position your queens a little bit better and make a wall.
Okay, so I'm gonna keep going. Sorry.
No, that's kind of my main takeaways.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you a little bit of a quiz here, and this is something that I want. This is gonna be your goal, okay? And I want you to give me your best answer you can as to what you think, and then whatever you say, I'm gonna critique it, and I'll give you the right answer if it's wrong, or if you get it right, I'll extend upon it, and then make sure I just want to make sure you understand this thing, because I want you to really think for a second here about your goal, and I'm gonna specifically ask you what it is, so I'll make sure you understand what the question is. But as long as you understand this, your odds of having good games going forward are going to be really high. So overall, the opener of the game, when you're going for like a macro build, you're like taking your main, taking your minerals, your gas eventually, taking your natural, taking your minerals, taking your gas eventually. What are your checkpoints for when you build the Roach Warren and the wall, essentially, the Evos? That's checkpoint number 1. When do you build that? And number 2, when do you build roaches, and how many of them are you going to build? So, again, just to make sure, I will say it one more time. When do you build Roach Warren and Evo to set the wall up? And then, furthermore, when it's finished, when are you actually going to build the roaches?
I'm probably going to get this wrong.
That's okay. But you need to know this, because if you don't know this, that's when you're like, spine, mass fucking Zerglings. And it's going to just make you have a game like this where it's like so fucking derailed.
So I know it's 16 hatch and then like make a pool.
Can I give you a tip really fast?
What's that?
Don't worry about your supply number with the Roach Warren. It's about your larva.
I think you make the Roach Warren once you have like 2 bases and the second one's like almost saturated.
That's decent. That answer is not bad. But I'll give you a very specific answer to it, okay? You make your Roach Warren and your Evos once you have spent the larva off of your first inject on both of your hatcheries. So both your queens spawn, you double inject, the inject rolls, it finishes, all the larva pops off, you spend all of it, immediately make the Roach Warren right after, and your Evos and your gases. Because the reason why it works like that is because the first golden priority of Zerg is larva, and as long as you respect that, you're good. Like that is the golden rule of Zerg. If you ever disrespect larva, your MMR is continuously dropping to what you're at. Everyone who disrespects larva is where they're at because they don't respect larva enough. That is like the key to being good at Zerg is larva. So if you spend your larva first, when you get a surplus of it, which is your first inject that pops off the hatcheries, spend it all. Then spend the next money as you get in increments of it. 150 Roach Warren, 75 Evo, 75 Evo, 25 gas, 25 gas. You'll make it all super fucking fast, and you won't disrupt your larva. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so that is always when you want to go for the roach wall off thing. And then secondly, when do you build roaches, and how many of them are you trying to build? And this doesn't matter, by the way, what your opponent's doing. It really doesn't matter.
I think when you've got both bases fully saturated is when you start making roaches,
Correct.
and you make around 8.
Correct. You got that. You have that down, which is great. Don't forget that. Definitely really be confident as fuck that you like, yeah, I know that shit. That's exactly what you do. Because it was correct, okay? But as long as you do that, and with that, you're making a third base, you're then... Cause another thing, too, is you're not going to have a wall off at your third base. That is very vulnerable. But your natural is going to have a wall off. So you have two choices. Either leave your queen in the doorway, your third queen in the doorway, while all of your 8 roaches go defend the third base, or leave 1 roach in the doorway while your third queen can like creep spread, while all of your 7 roaches go defend the third base. You just need something in the doorway on hold position. That way you're not going to be having everything over here at your third base, and then he just runs into your fucking natural through the doorway, and you're like, oh fuck, well I'm dead again. You have to have the doorway blocked, like at all times. The only time you can open up the doorway is when more roaches want to run out of your base. But like drones, for instance, can walk through roaches when they're on a mineral walk command. So if you rally your natural and your main to the third mineral line, you don't need to move the roach repeatedly. The drones will literally ghost walk through the roach, and they'll go through him to mine minerals over here.
Got it.
And make sure your roaches are also like in the mineral line, not in the middle like this. Like that's the worst place you could stand versus a bunch of zerglings, because what you're doing is you're giving him maximum surface area, whereas because there's no limitations on anything out here, like lings are gonna fucking swarm you all over the place if you wanted to, but if you stood like right there, if you stood right there, if you stood right there, if you stood like somehow like a little bit of a hybrid of like there and there, suddenly now the hatchery acts as a blockade, the gas acts as a blockade, the gas over here acts as a blockade, the mineral patches act as a blockade, and only like 4 lings are going to be able to melee you, and the other ones are going to be running around like dipshits. So you always want to think about, how do I reduce your surface area when you play against lings like this? And you do not need to micro, you just need to stand in a better spot. Now, I'm going to give you a tip. This is something that's not happening yet, but it could happen in the future of this game. But let's hypothetically say that your opponent was all over attacking you and you didn't have a doorway, okay? For whatever reason. Let's say it was a Terrama drops or some shit like that. The easiest way to deal with aggression from multi-prong when you're like, I don't really want to micro a lot right now, is 100%. All you got to do is every single hatchery you have, just say, hey, hatchery, I'm going to rally point. The hatchery is the white line, the unit rally point location, not the drone one, but the unit one. Right click the middle of your base, like the middle of the mineral line, like right there, like above where the spore collar would be. On this one, do it like right under where the spore collar is, or right to the right of it, just somewhere right there. And then on this one, right click the hatchery rally point right there, so that the unit rally point just says, whenever I build a unit, it's going to go into the mineral line. And then you can still have drones on the mineral line itself. You could have, because hatcheries have 2 rally points. They have a worker rally point and a unit rally point. But now if you do it like that, you don't even have to think about your roaches and where they are and how you're doing it. They'll just stand in the mineral line and guard the fucking drones. And anytime like a drop shows up, Hellions run in there somehow, Lings run in there somehow, your roaches are just right there to just like slam the fuck out of it and get rid of it immediately. And you like half the time you'll be like, I'm gonna build my 4th base. And then you'll be like, let's say the game plays and you're like, all right, I'm gonna watch this replay now. And you'll be like, oh, I remember when I built my 4th base. Wait, what? I killed a fucking 4 Hellions here. I didn't realize 4 Hellions existed. I didn't even know that was happening. But my roaches just killed them before I even noticed it. Cool. Like I guarantee that shit like that will happen, because you're putting more emphasis on the AI helping you rather than putting everything on your fucking shoulders, because you're not logically playing the game. And to relate it to chess again, imagine if your king, like, you know how it's like top versus bottom and you have like all your pieces, pawns are in front. Imagine if like your king was on like the left side of the board by himself and every other piece you had was like on the right side. and all your pawns were like trapping in all your good units. It's like this, like the worst way you could fucking design the board for yourself, and you're just leaving your one way you could lose the game super exposed, which is like your economy in StarCraft, and you're like, yeah, whatever, come kill it. I have to be really aware at all times to be on top of this, but if I'm not, I'm gonna take fucking damage. So you're setting yourself up for failure essentially if you don't do that, more or less, if that makes sense. It'll just make your life easier.
Got it.
And then when you get, or sorry, go ahead.
Keep your roaches in the mineral line.
Yeah, it makes it just way easier when you're learning the game, and you're like, because you're like trying to get better at the macro side of things. Once you get to like that, everybody gets to that point eventually, but once you get to the point to where like macro is literally out of your brain, it's second nature. You even have builds that are more advanced than B2GM, like the roach style. You're like, you know how to do speedling expands, you know how to do Lingbane Hydra, you can do Lingbane Muta, you can do like Evo Chamber, like early builds like that. You can do all kinds of builds, and you don't have to think about it. You just understand it. It's like breathing to you. Once you're like that, you can have your brain will feel like it has a lot more availability when you play this game. It won't feel as overwhelming, and then you don't have to do shit that's like sitting in your mineral line waiting to be attacked. You could actually do things like read the mini map the entire time and go, oh, I spotted a medevac. I'm now going to move in position to kill that right as it tries to happen, and I'm going to catch it like at that perfect time, and I'm always going to be on top of everything at the exact moment it needs to happen, because you're more active mentally in the game. You're not just thinking macro, 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 because that it's something it's automated for you at that point. So you can grow into that eventually. You know, this is not something you have to do forever with the whole fucking sitting in mineral lines thing, but for now, I think it's a great tip to just get through the process of getting better at macro easier. Also, you ripped off a lot of your mineral line here to go saturate this space. I would say okay until you went below 16. If you ever rip off drones to go below 16 to go somewhere else, it's not worth it, because you just took away efficiency to regain the same efficiency you already had, and you just created a no mining situation for like 20 seconds or 15 seconds while they rotated bases for no reason. So again, that slows you down for no reason. Because you're ultimately getting the same mining that you had originally. You're just making it take longer to get it again when you already had it before.
Whatever. Keep it all max, each base maxed out.
So if you ever go over it, you don't have to be. I know some people are fucking super OCD. You don't have to have exactly 16 every single time. If you do, that's great. But if you have 19, 18, 17, 20, that's okay. It like, you could take another base, eventually fix it later. Not a big deal. You're still getting efficiency out of it. It's okay. That is way better than over pulling like that and saying, okay, 7 of these drones that could have been here are now rotating this way. That's so much worse. And then spine crawler, never make spine crawlers. There's only 2 times you should, as a gold player, only 2 times you should ever think making a spine crawler is okay right now. And just think, if you ever make a spine crawler and you're not doing it in one of these 2 times, imagine if I had a fly swatter and I was sitting next to you and I slapped your fucking hand and I was like, no, cancel that motherfucking spine crawler right now. Bad. The 2 times you can ever make a spine, you can make 1 spine only, just 1 spine. If your opponent is not taking an expansion as Protoss or Terran, or if it's Zerg and their natural is delayed compared to yours, like you did this game. 1 spine is okay. That's fine. Just 1 though. Never take more than 1. If the only other time it is okay to make spine crawlers is if you're at 200 supply and you're ready to attack your opponent and you want to put a couple spines in your bases just to help you deal with harassment that might happen, and then immediately replace those drones or those drones that got used in the spines with more drones. So you fix your economy immediately, and you want to have spines because you're no longer on defense, you're now attacking your opponent at max supply. That's okay as well. But this mid-game spine shit, so bad. You don't need it. because it's slowing you down so much. And it's making shit like this happen where you're like, why does he have more roaches than me? Jesus. That's another reason why.
Yeah, I'm pretty much dead now.
No, for sure. So there was a lot of macro stuff you can definitely improve on. And if you really just follow those that like guideline of macro that we talked about, like we really I tried to stress on a lot of it. That was super important. Again, larva is your number one. But like the whole like feeling safe thing, like what's the goal to feel safe? The wall off, the queen in the doorway, getting full saturation, understanding when to make a roach warren and the evos and shit, and then also understanding when do I actually make roaches. As long as you really have a very solid, clear grasp on those things, the odds of you just fucking dismantling people who play like the way this guy just did they're be very high. You're gonna fucking destroy people who play like this. Because this guy, or sorry, go ahead. I keep cutting you off.
No, I was just gonna say I hope so.
Oh, dude, I'm not even kidding, man. You're at, I'm dead serious. Right now, you're at 8 minutes and 42 seconds. You could be maxed right now. So a lot of times, for me, like I look at the game and I always think about like what, this is probably the best way to explain another way that people kind of like misinterpret StarCraft. But once you get better at the game, this becomes the way you understand it. So a lot of times, players in like Gold League, Platinum League, Bronze League, whatever, players in like Metal Leagues essentially, or even Diamond League, maybe even Masters League sometimes. A lot of times, players tend to play the game and they base how good they're doing off of their opponent. They're like, this guy's at 83 supply. I'm at 91. I feel like I did pretty good this game because I'm ahead. So I should win, right? And I'm losing. Doesn't make any sense. I don't understand. But in reality, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You both played like shit. Now here's why, okay? It's because you should look at the game like it's a time trial, not like it's based off your opponent. Because imagine if the speed limit on a road was like 80 miles an hour and you're going fucking 35 miles an hour and the guy next to you is going 31 and you're like, I'm going faster than him. But you're disregarding the fucking road speed limit is 80. That's kind of what it's like in in Gold League. So what should happen is over time, you start to understand checkpoints with time and you're like, okay, if I can get this done by 3:45, that's my new checkpoint of like every game 3:45. If I can have this done, it means I'm playing well. And if I can't, it means I'm deviated way too hard and things are going bad. So what I would suggest for you to do, this is like your homework I'm going to give you, okay? What I can suggest for you to do is 100%, I don't give a shit what game you pick. Probably pick one in your league because it's designed for your league and that's what league you're in. Pick a game that I played in B2GM 2021 in Gold ZvZ. I don't give a shit which one you pick. Pick any of them. It doesn't even have to be a ZvZ. Pick a ZvP. It does not matter. Just watch the checkpoints of this, okay? Number one, when is Vibe like saturated on his natural? What time of the game does that happen? Like when does he have this? And then number two, when is Vibe saturated on his third base? When does he have this? Memorize these numbers. And then the next one, number three, when is Vibe saturated on his fourth base? The point I'm trying to make here that I want you to understand is you need to really have like strong checkpoints in your brain that are, when the fuck does economy end? And like I need to make sure that during the economy phase I'm hitting these thresholds close to on time or on time ideally. And if you beat them, which you totally can, by the way, which is why I said you should pick one in Gold League, like it is possible for you to outdo it and macro better than it, because it's not peak efficiency yet. It's just something that if you could do that already, you would smash Gold League with it. If you can just like keep up with it, you're like, that is, again, that just like I said early on, spinning your larva properly, that is the golden ticket to just beating everybody in Gold League and Platinum League even. It's just proper macro. So that the homework is learn when I take my natural and like when it's done being saturated, when I'm like at something that looks like that. When am I done saturating my third base? Write it down on somewhere, a notepad in the computer or on a physical notepad with a pencil or some shit. Just know these numbers. So be like, okay, so let's say, like, hypothetically, let's be like this. Okay, he's fully saturated on his natural by 3 minutes and 40 seconds. He's saturated on his third base by 5 minutes and 54 seconds. He's saturated on his fourth base by 6 minutes and 51 seconds. So from that point on, those numbers, like, again, that's going to feel overwhelming if you just did it for one time. But if you just now start going, okay, for the next week, I'm going to be like, okay, those are my numbers I need to memorize, and I need to play every game, and I need to look at the clock during my game and go, okay, that number means something to me. This 340 at my natural means something to me. Am I saturated? And let's say it's fucking 512, and you're like, I'm on 19 drones out of 22 drones at my natural, and it's 512 when it's supposed to be saturated by 340. That means I'm super far behind. And you actually would know, fuck, okay, this game is like derailed super hard. I need to like catch up. Let's fucking go, fix my economy. Otherwise, the only other option would be go all in right now. Because if you just keep playing like this super inefficient shit, you're like literally like, it'd be like trying to get, again, on an 80-mile-an-hour road at like 30 fucking miles an hour, and you're like, I'm eventually gonna get there, but no, it's gonna take forever though, and it's gonna be super inefficient. If that makes, I hope that makes sense.
No, got it. I got it. I will. I'll write those down. Focus on that. And yeah, no, I think I got a lot out of this. I think I'll improve just from this alone, hopefully.
I think you will. If you do what we talked about, 100% you're going to improve for sure. I feel like seeing is believing, and once you start seeing, if you spin your larva better and you actually understand the clock a bit better, and you know what good macro kind of looks like, you're gonna. Players like this, you're going to be like, okay, I run them over. I just run them into the fucking ground, and this is super easy. This is way easier than I expected. And if you just have that idea, like again, big tip here, that would have made your entire game so much easier. Like we said it before, but I'll say it one last time because I can stress it again. You just know when and how to take a wall off. Go back and watch the VOD, at the part I really talked about here, because I explained the grid thing. It's important to know that. If you do that, totally. Yeah, then like lings are never running through your base, and you don't need to make all these fucking spines, and you're droning properly, and you're not like, fuck, I gotta pull mineral line, my queen's dead again, I gotta pull my mineral line, chase it around. None of that shit happens, and you're just super far ahead because of it. But
I'll do that, and then hopefully I'll impress you with some improvement.
Yeah, I look forward to it, man. Don't be too hard on yourself. I'm definitely not judging you, and so never think that I'm judging you. It's okay. I've coached many people, and you're definitely not like an outlier. It's not like, wow, this is super bad. Like, you're totally fine. Like, there's people, I've coached people in all ranges of skill, and this is very real for Gold League right now. So you're doing just fine in Gold League. But if you want to get out of it and improve, doing what we talked about will definitely get you there for sure. But do you have? I'll give it one more chance. Do you have any final questions about anything before we wrap it up?
I mean, I think the main thing is like make the Roach Warren and Evo after you've done the first queen injects and spent your larva.
Yep.
On both bases.
Uh-huh.
And then fully saturated, get the 8 roaches, and then get the timings on the 3rd and 4th, and just never stop spending larva.
Yep.
That's kind of my main takeaway.
Yeah, and if you
there's many things I missed, you said.
And if you okay, so I'll give you a quick 30 seconds rundown of what your goals should be throughout the whole game, okay? And if you ever go back and watch the YouTube video that I post, and you're like, okay, I'm just gonna go to the end and we'll hear what he said again because I don't want to watch the whole thing again. I just want to get the end. I just want to get the gist of it one more time. All you want to do is saturate your main, saturate your natural. When the first inject explodes off the hatchery and you have 6 larvae sitting there, spend it all, make Roach Warren and your Evos and then your gases, go right back to making your larva, fully saturated on 2 bases, you make 8 roaches while you then take your 3rd, saturate to 66 drones, which is going to be a 3rd base saturated now, and do that off of 8 roaches still. As soon as you're there, you should have a Hydroden that started while you were saturating your 3rd, And now you can make roaches and hydras until you're at 120 supply. Then saturate your 4th base until you're at like 85 drones. And then you can take a 5th base while you're doing that, so you can transfer drones that mine out. But once you're on 85 drones, ideally that's going to be before 8 minutes. All you're doing, that's going to ideally be around 7 minutes, honestly. Ideally, then all you do is you just make fucking roaches and hydras until you maxed out. And then you just attack the second you max, remax, attack the second you, like, attack again, remax, attack again, remax, attack again, remax. Never let your economy fall apart. Always rotate it around so that it never just has like 16 drones fucking sitting there because you never fixed it and they all mined out of patches. Make sure you rotate it around as patches get depleted. Make sure you keep taking more bases about every 2 minutes so that you can always have drones rotate to new bases, so they're not like having 18 drones on fucking 8, what is equivalent of 8 drones could be at. So you're not having super inefficient gameplay here. And then, you know, try to get your upgrades eventually to 3-3 by going into a hive and getting 3-3. And then just roaches and hydras all day. That's literally it. But the opener of what I just said is, you know, the macro way to do it.
Got it. Yep. No, that's the B2GM way. I appreciate that, and I'll probably hopefully be better next time.
Dude, you're don't beat yourself up too hard. You did just fine, honestly.
5SD,
it's
Carl's
just
way.
This is everyone has problems in Gold League. Everyone has problems in every league, and the beautiful thing about Gold League is your problems, once you fix them, you'll realize how easy they are to fix, and then now suddenly you're like 10 times the player you were before. And you're like, wow, holy fuck, I'm so much faster. And this is great, because now everyone else that is Gold League, it just literally is like a fucking mosquito. I just slap them and they're dead. It's like they don't really pose a challenge anymore, because I can just actually macro. So I look forward to talking to you next time, man. And I'm sure, again, this is going to be a VOD, so you can, like, it's going to be a video on YouTube, so you can watch it as many times as you want for recaps and stuff like that. So you'll be able to get a lot out of it. If you have anything gets forgotten, you can always go back and look at it again. But I wish you the best of luck. Thank you again for doing a lesson, dude, and I hope your voice gets better.
Hey, thanks, man. Really appreciate it. Yeah, I'll watch the VOD, and yeah, thanks for your time, and thanks for going over a little bit. And yeah, I hope I impress you next time with some improvement. Yeah,
it sounds good, dude. And I'll have this. I'll send you a message on Discord in the DMs we just were talking in. I'll send you a message by maybe tomorrow or maybe the day after. So it takes me usually 1 or 2 days to upload videos. So in the next 24 to 48 hours, I'll have a video for you. And then, yeah, then it'll be yours forever. It'll be there forever. And
awesome. Thanks, dude.
Yeah, thanks, man. Have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, you too.
All right.
Yeah, I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Later, man.
Bye.
All right, guys. That has been a coaching lesson with Wes. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. I hope this helped you as well. Anyone out there that's trying to learn StarCraft yourselves, I wish you guys the best of luck. Never fucking forget, spend your larva. It's important. That's the golden rule. Don't forget it. Good luck, and see you next time. Peace, guys.